communicating in a meaningful way with a reliable resource, rather than the social media, the hype, because that just creates more stress. As I say, cortisol levels go up then.
Yeah, and it comes to a point of self-awareness, which it's hard. And I've had times where I'm very, very much lacking self-awareness. And I'll hold my hands up to that we need to be self-aware of what we're doing, because sometimes we don't even realize it. So, for example, one of the things I switched a few months back is on my phone. Right? I have Facebook on there, I have Instagram and everything, because I post a lot and I do lives. And it's a damn sure to download it every single time. But I have to swipe 3 times to the left to then get the actual social media folder on my iPhone. Then each app has its own page. And Facebook and Instagram is like swipe 3 times to the left, and then it's like swipe 4 for Instagram, 5 for Facebook, 6 for Twitter. So it takes another step of consciousness to a degree before I actually get there. And the amount of times I've actually got to that social media app without realizing it's just a habit. So like even coming into the practice, and I get there to reception and maybe Rachel's not there or she's on a call or something, instantly phone out, swipe. What's going on? It's just like
we're very much pre-programmed and trained.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening with our notice with stress, that because there's a common thread, we're all getting trained. So there's it's that herd mentality, that we're all in this together. So we're all experiencing that stress together. So now it's not so much of the stress of lockdown or people being close. People are a lot more trained and used to interacting with people with a mask on or so. There's this underlying stress, and it's been filtered through in preparation, because always prepare for the worst, and if that doesn't happen, you've done your preparations, your protocols worked, and if it does the worst, you're ready. In healthcare, there is a big undercurrent of fear for winter. Winter is traditionally the time when immune system is low and people are more likely to be of cough, colds, flu. So there's this undercurrent within healthcare of, we're now vulnerable. We've got to watch out. The worst is coming, but there's no message of how can we, as an individual, take responsibility for ourselves, and therefore, if we all do it collectively, our community's health preparation will be better. Where's the reduce the amount, I said, blue light, the adequate sleep, the mindfulness, the go out and exercise, all the strategies we know that help prepare you for winter. Where is that? There isn't that message. It's a message of collective fear and anxiety,
which makes it worse.
It makes it even worse, and I think that's the frustration, is that you can see that unfolding. It's shifting. That stress element and if we're not aware of it and we don't see it, we're very easy to get washed into it. So that's when people we've got to check the evening news just to see if there's any new developments, and so we've got to be aware of that kind of that spiral. So that's what I'm trying to encourage patients to be, is actually be, in a strange way, being consciously stressed rather than unconsciously stressed. Unconsciously meaning you're bobbling down the river at the current with everyone else is doing. Trying to there is stress around, but make it real for you as an individual rather than as a collective.
And also being aware you've got that stress, but you've also got physical stress as well. You've got that stress, environmental stress. If it's harvesting or something where you've got more around Norfolk, where there's going to be more pesticides and things like coming up off the crops, maybe those sorts of things, is that environmental stress going to add to it? But we have this psychological stress, and we forget that our body sees psychological and physical stress as pretty much the same thing, right? Yeah, that it'll tighten up muscles, and obviously you'll see it from a chiropractic point of view as well. Yeah. But if we're then going, and as I've said, I've used exercise as a coping mechanism in the past. It was one of the things which I hated the most about lockdown, and it's something which I'm massively working on. That you can't then just go and put loads of physical stress into it. If you think going to the gym, lifting weights is going to lower my stress, no, it probably makes it worse. We're fighting fire with fire. Going on a really long run just to clear your head, again, probably makes it worse. And it's where's that compromise that we have to make sure we are putting into perspective and putting into play.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to unrun a bad diet, but also you're not going to outrun chronic stress. If you are chronic stress and your sleep patterns are disturbed, it would suggest that your cortisol, your melatonin levels are haywire. Your adrenaline, noradrenaline levels are all over the place. Therefore, usually your insulin resistance and all your glucose balances are all out. You're not going to exercise efficiently. In fact, you're going to create more stress and overload. We talk about in chiropractic of the nervous system of having a sympathetic and parasympathetic. The easiest way really the names aren't relevant for most people. It's just that one is rest and recharge and the other one is fight or flight. So when we're under stress, you know this, I mean, when you're under stress, your body changes its whole physiology as to fight a lion to save its life. It's not going to operate. And so if you're already in that flight or fight, and now you want to crank it up even more and exercise it, because exercise is good, you've got to understand and the high levels of stress, what exercise is going to actually be beneficial and meet my physiology. So we've got to understand our physiology of stress before we can exercise in stress. And the same with food. And not also beat ourselves up. There's a good reason why you are attracted to those sugary foods when you're under stress. You know, the lettuce leaf, this doesn't seem that attractive when you've got long-standing chronic stress that you're trying to fight a lion day in, day out.
And even when we look at that, yeah, the lettuce leaf doesn't look that attractive. If we then beat ourselves down and start emptying the tank, because I've noticed that if I've done a hard week of training on a week that I'm also pretty stressed out, I want to go and eat junk. And it's actually crazy when I speak to clients about it. Oh, I fell off, or I done some emotional eating, and you're like, well, hang on, this happens to us as well.
You're human. We're built the same.
A robot, and people think, hang on, these are stresses, and I've learned about it because I've gone through pretty much all the things myself. And it's still crazy when you see these triggers: more stress, more junk food coming in, less sleep quality, which then makes you more stressed, and it's a vicious circle to be in. And you have to kind of snap out of it. Snap out into awareness, even not necessarily snap out it. Snap into awareness, so you can start stepping out of it.
So a good place for us where we'd start is they all interlinked, but identifying that there's physical stress, emotional stress, and chemical stress, but they actually all feed into each other. And that you're either going to be toxic in something, so you've got too much physical stress, or you're going to be deficient, so you're not exercising enough. And so the first point, obviously, with all of us, and that's what you and I do, is to analyze where you're at. You can't put in the right strategies unless you have an idea where you are, and then you can put in a map. But if most people they will look for one thing. So, well, I'm stressing that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to eat better. And if they eat better, but they don't understand the stress patterns of how they can improve that, that's not going to help. Or if they don't address the sleep pattern and see the link between sleep and what they eat late at night, of how they are impacting their quality of sleep, that's not going to work. Their success is going to be huge. So that's why working with someone like yourself or with our clients, that's what helps, is that we are human. We're not perfect. But we've also dedicated time to look into these things and have a holistic but also a deeper appreciation of how these systems work. Because I don't think many people really understand the biochemistry behind it. And so that it is, willpower is not enough. You need knowledge and strategies.
And that's where people then, and we don't really want to go off on a tangent with it, but people look at the calories in versus calories out, and it's far from the be all end all when it comes to being healthy, let alone with weight loss. When we look at everything else with the biochemistry, what is chemically going on in the body with different levels of inflammation and this is where a client is at. And we see that as a snapshot, but this is how they got there. That's how they got there. That's how they got there through their whole entire life. And we get to people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, it could be something that impacted them when they were like 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah, the current trend within functional health, functional medicine is looking at things from an avenue or a viewpoint of inflammation, as you just said. That when the body is ill and shows symptoms, it's usually that's the end product or the indicator of a system of inflammation. So whether it's a gut imbalance, a skin eruption, headaches, anything where the body's giving you symptoms, even the big one of cancer is seen more as these days as an inflammatory process and a sugar dysregulation issue, an inflammatory process where it results in change in the way the cells work. So looking at inflammation is really a lot of the modern day functional approach is looking at rather than just a symptom. Anyone can say, I have headaches because I'm stressed. So you can treat the symptom, but if you're not going to invest in looking at the cause, you're likely to be taking an approach which is stamping out the indicators and the symptoms for the rest of your days, not really sorting out the problem.
Definitely, yeah, it's a big thing there. Just to round up with everything, so obviously we've been chatting for a bit now. What would you see as the biggest thing you see in clients, whether it's from a chiropractic perspective or functional medicine, that shows they have chronic stress symptoms?
I think the best question I've come up with through the years or last couple of years is, tell me about your sleep pattern. I think that is one which most people don't realize and most people don't look. And I think if you ask that more often, you'll be shocked at what people think is normal sleep. When your physiology is out, and in the modern day life, I think sleep gets thrown. And then from that, you can unravel that's when you get the answer of, I have a couple of glasses of wine in the evenings. I do go on the phone a lot. I've got this, or I'm up late doing the accounts. So I'm on the computer, and that's where you get the story. But I think that one of the biggest indicators for me is probably sleep and energy, which kind of usually go hand in hand. What about you?
That would be one of the biggest things for me, just seeing the sleep pattern, that we see people waking up 2-3 times during the night to go to the toilet. It's common, but people see it as normal. Or even waking up at, say, 3 to 5 a.m. and not able to get back to sleep, and they just say, oh, the body only needs 4 hours sleep or something like that. And they start to thrive, I use like loosely in speech marks, that based on the coffee, the caffeine, the stimulants they're using in order to make them be more aware, only to know that that's then causing more issues down the line of making even more negative impact on the sleep.
We've done past podcasts, have we, on sleep, and we know that we can survive with 6, but we thrive on 8, 9, 10.
Massive.
And there's the big difference and the big difference with sleep is of how consistently you do that. So we can always sleep. I put my hand up. I'm guilty of sleep. Is one thing I'm really trying to work on, but it's a snippet of other things have to be changed to get to that point. And I go through phases where if I get through a week and I've had a lot more quality sleep, it makes a huge difference. But all I need is 2 or 3 nights where work has been this and I'm chasing that, and I work a bit later, and then I've got to get up early, and I can't catch that up. It's debatable whether you ever catch it up. I know the way of my food choices, my mood, everything else changes. So sleep is a snippet of a lot of factors. But sleep and energy, I think, go hand in hand. It's very hard for the physiology of the body to work well and thrive with inconsistent sleep.
Definitely. So, guys,
and
you can say
no.
Okay, guys, if you have any problems with sleep or you see other symptoms of stress, anything like that, drop Roger a message. You've got the chiropractic tag in here. Roger's in the group. Roger's obviously got his details on on Facebook and every single thing like that. So drop us a message if you have any questions that you want us to answer in the clinic as well. Like go into the center and speak with Roger, and we will get these questions answered in future episodes. But Roger, anything else that you want to add to this?
No, just as that, you know, obviously Ollie and I greatly pride ourselves in the service and the skills that we have, but we're not alone. There's a lot of other significant health professionals out there who are looking at life in a more holistic wellness perspective, in a vitalistic way. You know, you don't need to do this all alone. You will find that you're looking at the world in a different way, and we're here to support you with that. So, you know, we're certainly we're here and available.
And thank you for watching, or listening, depending on
watching, and if it's getting late and you're watching this, then press pause and then carry on it tomorrow, because you want to get some good sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for watching.